my biggest criticism of, or beef rather, with this issue is like, and maybe this goes back to your reasoning for why you didn't want to introduce jurisprudence into the world of Amazing Spider-Man, is that like the whole issue I couldn't help but thinking, and I thought this last issue too is, but this issue really seems to lock it in, is like, I can't help but feel that on the surface of this, the writing of Tombstone here is incredibly dumb. And maybe this is one of those issues where my opinion of it is going to dramatically change based on what happens next. And boy, have we said that a lot of times. I'm thinking back to like Amazing Spider-Man 25 and being like, no, they can still pull it off in the next issue where they reveal what's really going on here.
Sure.
And here's the problem. Here's why I think it's so dumb. Is that we've established in previous issues that he's angry at Janice for turning state's witness. But like, what's the plan here? To kill her so that she doesn't speak at the trial? Like, wouldn't everybody know that he's the one that killed her? Like, so the option is either that it's really dumb writing for Tombstone, that or that he's so angry that his decision-making process from a typically abnormally smart guy who we've seen pull the wool over our eyes twice, has been clouded beyond logic, okay? Because this doesn't make sense. Or is there something else going on here, and what we're seeing is not really how it appears? And with Tombstone in this run, I've kind of learned to expect that what I'm seeing is not really what's going on. So have you respond to my assertion that this is dumb of Tombstone? Do you agree with that?
I mean, no, I don't. I don't think. I think in a real world scenario, is this dumb? Yes. In a comic book world, is this dumb? No. Because I guess to your first question, like, so what's he going to do? Kill her and then, kill the star witness? But who is going to witness her being killed? Spider-Man. Is Spider-Man going to get up on the witness stand and testify against Tomb? Like, what is this? I mean, when have we ever seen that in a comic book? Like, why can't Spider-Man go and get Doc Ock put away and Norman Osborn put away? Like, yeah, this like, that's not that's not how comics work. You know what I mean? Like,
okay, but then it goes back to your very reasoning why you didn't want the law introduced into this in the first place.
Right. But But that's the thing. Like, you remove that, and it's just like, we've seen this in countless pieces of nonfiction, not just comic books. Like, there's a star witness, you kill the star witness. You know what I mean? Like, that's how it's done. It's an acceptable fact that someone is going to try, and without like the proper witness. I mean, there was no one physically in the vicinity of Janice, because I mean, that's the logical fallacy right there. And we got that last issue, which was like, why did everyone leave Janice? Like, what the hell is happening here? Like,
well, we do get no answer for why Tombstone has blood on him in this issue. So we don't find out if those were guards or whatever that we thought would be revealed, and that's not revealed here. Like, sure, who he killed on the way to Janice. I guess we can assume that someone was protecting her. Like who else did Tombstone harm to get up there?
Right.
So like, we can assume there was some level of protection. But my pushback to this is very public. Like, there are full scenes of him running around and Spider-Man saving people that are dodging out of the way. Like, people are seeing this.
Well, right. I mean, people also saw him beating the crap out of Peter, earlier in the arc as well. I would also say, to your second point, is Tombstone so angry that he's been clouded? I would say yes to a point, but I'm sure like this is a guy who keeps getting away with it. You know what I mean? Like, so like what makes anyone think that he could do something like this and still not get away with it? He got let out on bail for attempted murder one issue earlier. You know what I mean? Like the guy thinks he's invincible. You know what I mean? And rightly so. Like it's comic book logic that the bad guy is going to probably get away with it unless the good guy slaps him in cuffs or webbing or whatever it turns out to be. So I guess that's the thing. Like and again, this goes back to why I hate the fact that they went this route in the first place with the storyline. It's like you're introducing a line of logic that we don't normally have to contemplate because the logic in the first place was flawed, and now that makes the logic here flawed. And, you know, like, let's just get back to the core of the story, which is that Tombstone is a dangerous, deranged person who would kill his own daughter to protect himself, and Spider-Man's got to save the day. And on that level, it makes sense, and no one is being dumb. That's the thing.
Okay, but my pushback to that is I don't believe that that's who Tombstone is. Like, we have that flashback with him and Kingpin in, you know, on a safari, and it's Kingpin who's telling him, like, look at that lion that's killed its cub. And Tombstone says, you would kill a kid? And Kingpin says, I would kill my own son if it meant holding on to power. And I just don't know that I believe that that's who Tombstone is. And I think he says a line in this that, like, makes me feel that way. He says to Janice, I never wanted you to see this part of my life. Right. And maybe it means that she's about to suffer, like, the consequences of it. But I think it could also very well mean that he's making actions that are going to keep Janice away from this line of work, no matter what it takes from him.
I mean, at the same time, he had opportunities to kill her and doesn't succeed.
Yes.
So maybe this is who he is and that he's not going to go through with it. We don't know.
Yeah.
You know?
I mean, I guess that's my point is I think there's something else going on here than Tombstone is just out to kill Janice. And maybe it's just because I don't buy that. Like, I don't buy that Tombstone is someone that would kill his own daughter, no matter, like, how much she has wronged him. That just doesn't seem like the guy that we've been reading.
Right.
And so, like, either the book didn't do the work to convince me of Tombstone's change, or I think that there is something else going on here.
I mean, I see what you're saying, but I guess, like, I'm kind of taking, like, the Schrodinger's cat approach here, which is, like, it could be either, you know?
Yeah,
like, we don't know until we open the box, which is the next issue or, you know, the next two issues, you know what I mean, in terms of where we're at. But, like, I actually feel like it could just be that he wants to kill her. And if that's the case, like, on a pure primal level, it works for me. But it could be more going on here. And if that's the case, it also works for me because of previous stories. I like, that's the thing. I don't feel like the previous stories negate the fact that Tombstone is so deranged and angry right now that he would try and murder his daughter. At the same time, I could see it being something else. I don't have an issue with either outcome right now in terms of how this is being set up. Because, again, I feel like we had a lot of work put in to these two characters here. And we've, like, kind of reached this, like, fever pitch where, like, logic and intellectual maneuvering has kind of reached an impasse, and now we are at a point where it is just brute force and primal nature that's taking over for all of these characters. It is a crescendo. We are in the end game, if you will. We have 2 issues left after this. So I think, like, it can be anything, and anything is justified, in my opinion. I get that it's not everyone's opinion, but that's why it works for me.
Yeah, and that's just a difference of opinion, which you and I, it seems increasingly
that's just like
rare.
Your opinion, man.
Yeah. But like, I think the next issue could justify either, but right now I'm not convinced. That this story has, like, it's not convinced me that Tombstone would act this way, and I'm much more prepared for, like, a hard swerve. And which gets me asking, like, you know, like, for what audience is Tombstone doing what he's doing? Because he either means it or he doesn't mean it. And this is all a performance, and if no one, like in the beginning, nobody is seeing him attack Janice except for Janice. So is the motivation to scare her and not actually kill her? He does miss her with every shot of his gun, and it, takes great detail to show, like ping, 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 all the shots that like go out of his way to miss her. But at the same time, you're right. He does have her in his hands a number of times with the intent to kill. Would he go through with it? I guess we don't know. We know he's trying to kill Spider-Man to prove to these other gang lords that like, he's the top dog and he's not working with Spider-Man. So is this a way of him drawing out, Spider-Man by going after Janice? That seems silly, considering that he leaves Spider-Man during the chase to go after Janice. So that doesn't really make much sense. Or is he like pulling a Kingpin where, this feint, or what if it ends up being that to kill Janice is a way of showcasing his power to the other, like crime lords. So the next question I would ask in that regard is he and Janice, are they in on this together to give everyone a loud show with no consequences so that he can obfuscate himself of the Spider-Man problem without losing all these other things? Like I think there are many options for this to not be what it is. And I just wanted to put that out there because personally I don't buy it. And maybe I'm trying to do work that I feel like the writer could do, but I'm not yet ready to I just don't buy it. And maybe I'm just looking for a reason to buy it.